This is for eastern Columbia, northeastern Dane, northwestern Jefferson, and Dodge County. This is for a line of severe thunderstorms that basically stretches from Wanakee up toward the Cambria-Friesland area, moving toward the toward the east at 50 miles per hour. Basically, what we're looking at is we're seeing a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes in this area. It's racing off toward the east, and you can see the area that is under the warning. So basically, most of Dodge County, including Beaver Dam, eastern portions of Columbia County, east of Highway 51, northeastern Dane County from Sun Prairie over toward Waterloo, up toward the Columbus area. All of that area, if you are in that area, you need to seek shelter immediately. We're going to go to Jacob Montesano here. Let's switch over to Max 1 on the 3x3 monitor, please. Max 1 on the 3x3 monitor. There we go. And let's go to Jacob. And Jacob, I'll run the radar here, and away you go.
If you look closely, if we look to the bottom of the screen, it's also, if you are watching from Madison, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for our area. Wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So even if there isn't indeed a tornado, obviously the storm is capable of producing a tornado, but we're seeing very strong winds. It looks like the hail isn't too big of a threat, but if we can get the velocity on this, I'm curious.
We will in just a second.
We're likely going to see some of these wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Some of the areas that are concerning to me, we're looking kind of these there's kind of like breaks in the line of thunderstorms right here, possibly here as well, where we could possibly see some rotation. The tornado does form. It likely will be very quick. Here, let me step out of the way. Here are some of the towns that will likely be impacted by it over the next 15 to 20 minutes. If you're in Watertown, you have about 20 to 30 minutes until the storm gets to you. It is moving very quickly and is producing some very strong front gust winds up to 70 miles per hour, possibly even approaching 80 miles per hour. This storm earlier had wind gusts up to 77 miles per hour. So yeah, right here, this is a pretty concerning area in terms of wind. Now, thankfully, we don't see a lot of rotation, but if you click on some of these, yeah, the lighter the colors as they get kind of blue right here, that's the gustiest wind. Could you possibly put a question mark right around here, see what the wind gust is? So we have 51 miles per hour. Yeah, don't worry about the fact that it says negative. That is 50 mile per hour winds, 45 mile per hour. And my guess is that it might even be a little bit higher than that. We have had some reports of wind damage, and like I mentioned, this specific storm had wind gusts up to 77 miles per hour. There you go, 65 miles per hour in your Sun Prairie.
Just northeast of Sun Prairie.
Just by Sun Prairie. We're not seeing quite as gusty of winds in Madison, but we are still under the severe thunderstorm warning. The strongest part of the storm is to the north, so Beaver Dam, Waterloo, like I mentioned, out towards Watertown as well. This storm is pretty much racing to the east at around 50 miles per hour. Thankfully, the hail has not been too bad, but we also have been dealing with flash flood warning for Lafayette County. Some of those areas have seen almost 5 inches of rainfall in the last 24 hours. If you remember, earlier in the morning, there was a round of storms that moved through the area, and there was also a tornado warning for that area as well, and there are still seeing some rainfall. For those of you between Platteville and Monroe, Lafayette County dealing with a lot of rainfall over the last 24 hours, but here is why we are live. There is a tornado warning in effect for Columbia, Dane, Dodge, and Jefferson County. This includes Sun Prairie, Beaver Dam, Watertown. Thankfully, we're not dealing with large hail with the system. Hail looks to be less than 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But even if there isn't a tornado, we are going to see very gusty winds. And some of these couplets within the line of storms, those are the areas of concern about possible rotation. One right there, and one by Cambria. So those are the best chances to see some rotation. Right now, it doesn't look like we have any small couplets of rotation based on the velocity parameter, but we are still seeing some very gusty winds inside the thunderstorm up to 70 miles per hour. So if you're in Beaver Dam, Elba, Waterloo, Watertown, try to gather any loose items you have in your backyard or front lawn. Try to maybe bring them inside or put them in a place that they won't get blown away, because we're going to see some pretty gusty winds with this system. And usually you get that with storms moving this fast, and also storms that have a very quick no rain to heavy rain kind of gradient right there. So we are going to, so very gusty winds, and again, a possible tornado. It's important to possibly treat this like it is a tornado, simply just because of how gusty the winds are going to be. Try to get to the lowest portion of your home home. Try to stay away from windows. Those are the town's list of people or places that are going to be seeing the possible storm move through the area. Also, if you look down south, obviously seeing a lot of rainfall in Madison. Thankfully, although it is we're seeing gusty winds around our area, and we're still under a severe thunderstorm warning. The strongest does stay off to the north in some less populated areas. But if you are within this area, again, those are the towns listed. Over the next 30 minutes or so, prepare for some pretty gusty winds. And although we don't have a lot of hail with the system, we did have a lot of hail earlier. So kind of the spikes you see, one right there, right there, right there, up near Cambria, those are where the gustiest winds are located, moving pretty much due east around 50 miles per hour. And some of these red areas, again, this is like kind of the calm before the storm, because once it comes, it's going to come quickly. And I wouldn't say without warning, because we're warning you right now, but it is going to move very fast. This area does concern me a little bit about possible rotation not far from Waterloo. It didn't look like it on the velocity parameter, but here.
Take a look at that between Sun Prairie and Waterloo.
That area is a bit concerning about possible rotation right there. But yeah, again, still going to see the gusty winds even if there isn't the tornado. I'm going to step over here to have a
And just to let you know, Jacob, we had a measured wind gust at the Dane County Regional Airport to 58 miles per hour as this line of storms has moved through.
And crazy enough, that's the calmer side of the storm, because up here we're seeing wind gusts. Like I said, we had reports up to 77 mile per hour wind gusts.
Estimated wind gusts to 70 miles an hour in Wanakee as the line of storms moved through. We did have a 77 mile per hour wind gust that was reported in Lone Rock as the line of storms came through. So yes, it's we're getting a lot of straight line wind reports out of this. So at the very least, and if you can come to camera 4 here for a second, and you guys just keep me advised about time like we talked about before. But basically, these pockets of stronger winds, as they push into areas of lighter winds out in front, this is where you might see a brief, quick spin up of a tornado. These are probably not going to be long-lived tornadoes, but when they occur, they might last for a minute or two and maybe give some areas of enhanced damage. So if you are between, if you're near Waterloo, anyway, I would say if you're south and east of US 151 and north of I-94, okay, you need to be in a safe place, because these spin-ups are heading in your direction. Whether or not they're producing a tornado, hard to say, but these would be the areas of most concern. But at the very least, you're going to be seeing some very strong straight-line winds that are probably crossing US 151 right now. Also seeing some strong winds back toward Wanakee. We've already had wind gusts there. Down.
That could possibly impact Madison shortly, just to the northwest of the area.
Yes, and we probably should say, too, that we do have additional warnings that are in effect. So let's see, this is a severe thunderstorm, or that's the tornado warning there. So I'm going to drop that out of the loop. Basically what we're trying to do is keep track of all the warnings as they come through.
Yeah, there's warnings to the north of the tornado warning up heading towards Fond du Lac. I know it's out of our area, but then we also have some severe thunderstorm warnings to the south. So, this includes Madison, Dodgeville, Belleville, a lot of areas. It's a very wide severe thunderstorm warning, including Dane, Iowa, and Jefferson County. 70 mile per hour wind gusts with this storm. So this storm is no joke. Just because it's not in the tornado warning doesn't mean you shouldn't take cover. Although if you're in Madison, it's pretty much over us right now. So what are we going to say?
Yeah, so Jacob, that's the severe thunderstorm warning that does include the city of Madison, but the tornado warning does include far northeastern Dane County, eastern portions of Columbia County, and western Dodge County, as well as far northwestern portions of Jefferson County. So
we have 30 seconds, by the way.
Yep. So this is for those of you watching us on Fox 47. We're going to be with you for about another 30 seconds. We're going to be going back to programming there. We will continue coverage on WISC-TV 3. Again, tornado warning. That is for the northwestern portion of
big concern right near Beaver Dam, and also just north of the interstate heading towards Watertown.
So those on Fox 47, you're going back to regular programming. For those of you on WISC, we are staying with continuous coverage because of that tornado warning for northeastern portions of Dane County, as well as eastern Columbia County.
I believe we're just on WISC-TV
Yes,
now.
We're just on WISC. So there you go. So that is the latest radar and the warning that you see. tornado warning, eastern Columbia, western Dodge, northeastern Dane, and far northwestern Jefferson County. That is until 10:30. This does not include the city of Madison, but it does include northeastern Dane County.
Can we pull up camera 3 for a second? I want to point out some areas of possible concern within the tornado warning. Just to the northwest of Waterloo. Again, this one's moving kind of east, a little bit to the northeast, but that's an area of concern right there. There's also an area of concern not far from Beaver Dam when you have these couplets within the precipitation. Could we get the velocity metric? Yeah, it does look like there possibly could be some rotation right there. Again, even though we're not in the areas that aren't quite as big concern, still dealing with some very gusty winds and also possible rotation up here near Beaver Dam. Again, and if you look down to this, sorry, let me just add one more thing. You look down to the south, some pretty gusty winds around the Madison area, but thankfully for Madison, it doesn't look like we have any possible rotation.
Madison Gas and Electric outages, over 10,000 now, mainly on the north side of Madison in Dane County. But again, this is, we're just starting to get that line of storms basically through the city of Madison right now as we speak. I don't know let me just call up our WISC-TV camera here just to see if we're seeing anything. So you can see very heavy rain right now, almost continuous lightning. This is looking toward the southwest from the WISC-TV Skycam. Edgewater Skycam looks like it actually may be down there. Oh, there we go. No, it's looking in another direction. Let me just see if I can swing that around. No, it's actually down right now. That's the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Platteville kind of at the back edge of things, but again, the storms are rolling through the Madison area as we speak. And again, we do have that tornado warning. That is for the eastern portions of Columbia County, northeastern Dane, northwestern Jefferson, and western Dodge counties until 10:30. That is why we're on the air with continuous coverage.
That couplet near Beaver Dam seems to have strengthened just a little bit.
Let's take a look at the wind velocity there. I can hear the rain on the roof there.
So yeah, still dealing with still going to see some very gusty winds, even if there isn't an worry about rotation. I also want to point out could you go a little bit further north again? So right here, when you kind of have this bow a little bit to the south of Beaver Dam, a lot of times that produces the strongest wind gusts. You see how it's kind of like a bow right there. That often produces some of the gustiest winds as it rushes off to the east. But the couplets that we're talking about, which is right here near Beaver Dam, that's the biggest concern for rotation. It looks like the couplet near Waterloo has kind of flattened out a bit, so that's some good news. But still dealing with very gusty winds. Columbus, Waterloo, Beaver Dam. Well, at this point, it's already over Columbus, but definitely prepare now. Watertown, you guys are going to be next. So
yeah, I'm looking at the National Weather Service. Obviously, at this time of night, it's very difficult to get real-time storm reports. We have had some storm reports already from these thunderstorms as they have pushed through parts of southern Wisconsin. I'm going to load this up here, and you can see some of the reports. So we actually got these over the last few hours or so. Let me see if I can. Our storm report here does not want to pop up. Let's try this. There we go.
We have an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning if we want to zoom out. Do you want to talk about this first, though?
Let's, what's the warning?
Okay, so the warning is for northeastern Greene County, northern Walworth County, Rock County, western Waukesha. I think there are several different warnings possibly because those are far areas. So I think there's possibly two additional warnings that have gone into effect. If we zoom out, we have a fairly large one extending really all the way from Monroe and extending all the way through Janesville up north towards Waukesha and Watertown. So a very widespread warning. The system is behind this red box right over Madison. Moving southeast, what was the speed? Now it's 60 miles per hour, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Thankfully, the hail looks like it has diminished a little bit. But
this is definitely more of a straight line wind event just because of that line of storms, and we'll show the radar here.
This is straight from the National Weather Service. Expect considerable tree damage, and damage is likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. So if you are in a mobile home, obviously only for those that are not experiencing the storm yet, possibly, maybe go to a neighbor's house or possibly a local store or something, because damage to mobile homes are possible. But if this is only for areas like, for those of you in Janesville, you have a little bit of time, but not a ton. Could we have maybe the timing of that with the box?
Yeah, our computer is very sluggish right now. I'm trying to get this set up so that we can.
So the towns impacted by this severe thunderstorm warning: Janesville, Watertown, Whitewater, Stoughton, Fort Atkinson, Elkhorn, Heartland, Jefferson, Mukwonago. I'm not sure.
Don't worry about those. Again, those are outside of our viewing area. Mukwonago, Stoughton though is in our viewing area.
We also have Edgerton, Evansville. Not sure which other ones, but the big ones: Janesville, Whitewater, Stoughton, and Fort Atkinson.
It's pronounced Stoughton. Yeah. So, for some reason, the computer is really acting slowly here. I'm trying to.
Still have the tornado warning for Beaver Dam, Watertown, moving east.
Let's try this here.
60 miles per hour if we spanned up a little bit.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay here and actually manually change things. So, right now, the tornado warning, and that is for far eastern portions of, actually far southeastern Columbia County. So most of Columbia County has been taken out of the warning. Far northeastern Dane County, east of Sun Prairie. So the area around Waterloo, certainly at risk. Beaver Dam, anywhere between Waterloo and Beaver Dam, that's the highest risk area. But as these storms continue off toward the east, Mayville, Eustisford, Watertown, you are next in line for this area. So if you are in eastern, say central or even eastern Dodge County and northwestern Jefferson County, that's the area where you need to be in a safe area immediately, because this line of storms is heading in your direction and probably is producing, at the very least, straight line winds to maybe 60 or 70 miles per hour. You see the strongest winds. This is where the strongest winds are likely to be occurring, from Waterloo up toward Beaver Dam. And if there is a brief spin up, it's going to be right on the front edge of this. So the tornado threat, I think right now, is minimal, other than the fact that we could see a very brief tornado spin up and cause some enhanced damage. But with winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour, we're almost certainly seeing some kind of wind damage there. As far as let's put the radar into motion here, just so you get an idea of how quickly those storms, they're racing off to the east now. So they're already into Beaver Dam, Waterloo. So the good news is once they blow on out of here, that will lessen the severe weather threat.
It does look like with the precipitation expanding on the front end of it, that would help a lot to minimize some of the wind damage. Usually the strongest winds usually occur when there's a tight gradient between no rainfall and heavy rainfall. It does look like there is some precipitation expanding on the front end of it, which is some good news.
So now the storms have been racing through Madison, they're through Stoughton, or into Stoughton, Evansville, Edgerton, Albion. You're right in line, Evansville and northern portions of Rock County. Monticello, Albany, you are next in line across northern portions of Greene County, and eventually Janesville will be affected, Whitewater, Jefferson. So pretty much the southeastern portion of our viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning. And the rest of Dodge County now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 11 p.m. I'm going to give you an overview here of all the warnings that are currently in effect, and that will kind of give you a better idea. So here we go. You can see just how widespread these warnings are for southern Wisconsin. There's a tornado warning, again, north and east of Madison, but pretty much from Madison to the south and to the east under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. And that will run for at least about another hour.
Now, what is good, although it is still raining, looks like the worst has kind of passed by the Madison downtown area. Still raining, still should stay inside, but the worst of the storm is this front line of the storm. So for those of you in Madison, definitely stay inside, but the good thing is that the worst has likely passed.
And the other thing, too, that is going to be a concern, at least for some people, is going to be very heavy rain. Already have seen it over parts of Lafayette County, south and west of Darlington, south and east of Darlington.
The rainfall is a bit delayed, so there's going to be a lot more around the Madison area, especially just to the north, over the next coming hours. So it is a bit delayed, but the heaviest rainfall right around Lafayette County. Flash flood warning still in effect, and I believe they're still seeing some rainfall down there, if I'm not mistaken. The severe thunderstorm warning has expanded. It is pretty much from Monroe all the way close to Milwaukee. So it's still dealing with some moderate rainfall. Thankfully, the heaviest looks like it's about over for those of you in Lafayette County, but still going to see some flash flooding concerns, and there's a possibility that we could see more flash flooding concerns across our other area. That has been a big concern on top of the hail, wind, and in some cases the tornado threat. So it looks like the tornado warning is still in effect, but it looks like it's just now passing through Beaver Dam, Watertown. You got about I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes before it impacts your area. The worst has passed through some prairie, which is some good news. Like I said, most of the suburbs of Madison, or most of like the nearby suburbs of Madison, the worst has passed. Still a radar indicated tornado. I don't believe we have actually had a confirmed tornado.
No, but at this time of night, you're not going to get a lot of real-time reports. So that's something to keep in mind. Just because we're not getting reports that say, hey, there's a tornado out there, doesn't mean that there hasn't been a brief tornado touchdown. Just looking,
the big concern is I believe it's right near Beaver Dam, but this couplet is probably the biggest concern of a possible spin-up or tornado.
And the National Weather Service is saying the hail threat has diminished, and we concur with that. The high wind threat certainly has increased because of the storms forming along a line and sweeping south and east of Madison now, moving through Dodge County, heading towards Janesville, Monroe, areas farther to the west, say from Dodgeville westward. You're still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like the severe weather threat pretty much has ended north and west of the Wisconsin River. So Sauk County, Richland County, Juneau Adams counties, you are in the clear. The tornado threat right now, highest on the northern end of the line of storms, because a lot of times what can happen too is you get what's called a bookend vortice, where you got a line of storms here, as Jacob mentioned, as those winds sweep out, they can cause a spin up, and a lot of times it'll happen at either end of the line of storms, so especially the northern portion of the line of storms. Again, going back to the example that I used, with Dodgeville had a line of storms move through back in 2013, and it caused an EF2 tornado that there was no warning out for because it happened very quickly. As that line of storms moved off to the east, the northern portion of the line of storms went through Verona and spawned an EF3 tornado at the northern end of the line of storms that did quite a bit of damage in the northern portion of Verona. So this is a very similar situation. So the tornado threat is higher here. The wind threat is probably higher south and east of Madison, especially heading into, say, Jefferson County, far southeastern Dane County, and northern portions of Rock County, north of the city of Janesville right now. Those would be the areas really concerned, at least as far as wind is concerned.
Well, what is nice is I've noticed there's already some light to moderate precipitation around Janesville. That will help reduce some of the wind strength, whereas up here near Watertown, we're still seeing, well, not dry air, but little precipitation just to the east of that. Yeah, when you have the little precipitation contrasting very quickly with the heavy, that's where the strongest winds are going to occur. While there's still a severe thunderstorm warning down here for Janesville, 70 miles per hour, I mean, we could see gusts up to 70 miles per hour, but I would say probably closer to 60 miles per hour for Janesville. But near Watertown and further up north, that's where the gustiest winds, at least my guess, would occur.
Yeah. So basically what I'm doing is I'm highlighting those three areas that are under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. It looks like, let's see, I'm just checking with the National Weather Service here. Not seeing any new information on the tornado warning. I just want to check and make sure that the tornado warning here, there it is. You can see the storms are almost out of that warning area, or at least the highest threat. And let me just zoom into that area so you can get a better idea. This area right here, the tornado threat is going to be highest from Watertown up toward Mayville. I think it's already past Beaver Dam. Strongest winds also right on the front edge of that. If we look at the radar velocity, you can see these pockets of winds, maybe west of Watertown, possibility for a brief spin up there, maybe northeast of Beaver Dam, between Beaver Dam and Mayville. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack if you're trying to pick an area where there might possibly be a tornado. But usually in a situation like this, tornadoes come and go very quickly. In a minute, maybe 2 minutes, do a quick pocket of damage. So be prepared for a tornado. I mean, if you are certainly in the eastern half of Dodge County, and I would say the northern half of Jefferson County, north of I-94, go to your safe area immediately, because that's the area that the tornado threat is highest. South and east of there, or south and west of there, back toward, say, northern Rock County, southern Dane County, you're going to be needing to prepare for strong straight line winds. Those are moving through Cambridge, Deerfield, Stoughton, eventually heading toward Fort Atkinson and Whitewater, that area there.
I'm thinking the places near Monroe, I mean, although they're under a severe thunderstorm warning, I don't expect to see some very strong storms in that area. But I would say the end of the severe warning, at least if I had to decide what the warning was, I would have said for Janesville up north and up all the way north through Fond du Lac. I don't expect to see a lot of severe weather kind of over here. It looks like some heavy rain, yes, but it kind of looks like the storm on the west end of it is diminishing just a little bit.
Notice the lack of lightning too, say south and west of Madison toward New Glarus. A lot of heavy rain there, but not seeing a lot of lightning. So lightning is a good indication as to where the storms are more likely to be stronger or severe.
When you have a lot of rainfall like we're seeing in Janesville, it kind of is hard for severe criteria to really get there. But
they've already had a couple of rounds of strong thunderstorms. That's cooled the air a little bit, but again, northern part of the line of storms, that's where the tornado threat is a little bit higher. Southern part of the line of storms, where the wind damage potential seems to be a little bit higher, and that would be the rest of Jefferson County.
The lightning is much more significant around Jefferson than it was down south near like Evansville and even Janesville, not seeing as much lightning for there. So although still going to see some heavy rain possible wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, but it's not going to be as strong as what we're seeing up near Jefferson, Watertown, and it looks like the strongest has passed Beaver Dam, which is some good news.
Okay, let's go to the traffic camera on I-94 at Wisconsin 89. This is in Lake Mills. If we can take that, we will show you that. We have it available.
Here are some towns impacted by the storm with the tornado warning. Okay, there we go.
So no, that's wrong. There we go. So this is. No, that's I-39 county. So, okay, so we don't have that, but this is we got a storm track here, and you can see these storms moving eastward pretty rapidly. They're in Ixonia by about 10:25, which is about 10 minutes from now, and then they're out of our viewing area essentially. So basically, Watertown, you're going to see the storms almost immediately. Mayville about 10:21. By the time we get to about 10:25, there's the camera. This is I-3990 at County V. So this would be just north of Madison. The storms have already passed there, but you can see quite a bit of lightning, some heavy rain, traffic moving slowly on I-3990. It'd be nice. I don't know if we have that I-94 camera available, because that's where the storms are heading. But don't worry. Let's come back and we'll take a look at the storms here. Just looking to see if the Weather Service, so just from the National Weather Service, they're watching those notches that we were looking at in the line of storms and those little couplets, just monitoring for tornado potential. Have not had any reports of tornadoes from that line of storms, but again, at night, it may be difficult to get those in more or less real time.
Also, for those of you, thank you for going south. For those of you, what's the county for Janesville and Monroe?
Okay, so Janesville is in Rock County, Monroe is Greene County.
Yeah, Monroe and Greene County, unless you're in the northeastern part, it looks like it's not going to be very severe. I mean, possibly, like I said, the northeastern parts of, is this Rock County or Greene County?
That's Rock County. So basically, yes.
Northeast of Janesville, like that area could possibly see some severe weather, but although the warning extends all the way to a good portion of Greene County, Greene County, I would expect that over here we're not really going to see a ton of severe weather. It looks like it's just going to be some heavy rainfall.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some strong winds up toward New Glarus, the northern portion of Greene County. Certainly far southeastern Dane County and into northern Rock County, I'd say from Evansville to Albion to Jefferson, that area most likely would be seeing the strongest wind. So this area here is that line of storm. Let's just put the radar into motion just to see how these storms, if they're accelerating off toward the south and east. So this is over the last hour. So you can see we're starting to see a stronger push here. This area moving eastward very rapidly. So that would take them out of Dodge County almost certainly before the end of that warning. We're just waiting to see if the National Weather Service is going to continue on with the tornado warning, which is farther to the north. And again, this is for western Dodge County, northwestern
portions. We have some video from downtown, I believe. Where is this located? This is East Downtown Madison.
Take a look at the rain there. This is for Braden Ross. This is at Gorham and University at Bassett. So, that is. You should not be driving through water like that. Let me explain this to you. Do not drive through areas where water covers the road like that, because there could be, the road could be buckled a little bit underneath you. It takes between 18 and 24 inches of water to float a car. And once that happens, you're going to ruin your car. That's it. So if you get into a situation like that, you should not be driving through this. Turn around, find another route. Downtown Madison, obviously we don't have any rivers there, but most flooding fatalities occur in automobiles. People drive into areas, the car starts floating. You can spin the steering wheel all you want, but you're going wherever that water is going to take you. So if you see an area where water covers the road, where there's any question as to how deep that water could be, turn around, find another direction. The good news, at least from Madison's standpoint, as the back edge of the heavier rain is now moving out of Madison, so we're just looking at lighter rain. So the flooding potential will probably lessen pretty quickly. It's mainly in the urban areas, but we're waiting to see. And I'm going to just pass that report on to the National Weather Service because of the fact that it has the possibility, at least, of causing some flooding. Just seeing a local storm report, wind gusts to 59 miles per hour in Monroe. So, we were talking about those storms in Greene County, and let's go back here. So, put Monroe right in the middle of the map there. So you can see, this is out ahead of the main line of storms, which is to the north and west, although there was another cell that kind of came in from the west. But they had a wind gust of 59 miles an hour in Monroe. So, again, that's why the warnings are out here for Greene County, Rock County, Dane County, Jefferson County, all of these under severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as Eastern Dodge County.
Why don't we do a quick recap, because we're going to go out to Armand and Platteville in a moment. But let's do a quick recap before we do that of the current situation. So, still having a tornado warning, but it looks like most of the rain has kind of...
You're going to have to give me a second here, because I've got to do it a different way on the computer just because of the computer situation here. So what we have, and I'm just going to take off the hail here too, so it doesn't, so it makes it a little easier to see.
Still have a tornado warning. Is that expired roughly 10:30, I believe?
There it is, 10:30.
But it looks like most of it has kind of exited or at least the worst part of it has exited the tornado warning box. Still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Janesville, all the way up north through Jefferson and Dodge County, all the way up north to Fond du Lac. And this storm is moving very quickly to the east-southeast. The further north you are, the more east it's going, and then down here it's kind of moving to east towards the south a little bit more. And we could see some wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour with the storm and some minor hail. But we do have Armand Rahman in Platteville with some damage. So could we go to him?
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. We're here in Platteville right now on North Water Street, just right by the Platteville Golf Course. And it's hard to see right now, but just minutes ago, there was a front loader cutting up dozens of trees just going down this street. And we know probably what did it. Neighbors were telling me that it was a lot of wind, high winds that were knocking those down. And that's because, when we were driving up here trying to find this scene, at one point the wind was rocking our car. There was debris hitting our car as well, and the visibility was near nothing. So even though it was not a tornado warning, as Jacob and Gary said, it was no joke. Those winds were dangerous. And also we got viewer photos as well of golf ball to tennis ball size hail that they said they thought that, someone in the apartment was banging on something because of how loud it was. So again, this is a look at the storm damage here in Platteville. Quieted down right now. Lightning still, though, can be seen occasionally in the sky, but we'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Armand. He mentioned that there were pictures of golf ball to tennis ball size hail. There was a report between Platteville and Belmont of hail up to 2.5 inches in diameter. So we saw some large hail, gusty winds. That was the largest hail report. The strongest wind gust that was reported was, I believe, Little Rock. Had a wind gust of 77 miles per hour.
Lone Rock
Had a wind gust of 77 miles per hour. Still seeing some pretty gusty winds with this storm. Right now, it looks like it's passing through Jefferson and Watertown. Like I said, it's moving very rapidly. Honestly, by as early as 11 p.m., we may see these storms off to the east of our area. The ones down south towards Rock County may last a little bit longer, but still, this is going to be a pretty fast-moving system. Not going to see much by the time we get to around midnight.
Jacob, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give everybody a quick update so that so we can kind of recap everything that's going on here, because the tornado warning continues for about another 10 minutes, and then I'm just going to go around and show kind of a storm track in front of where the storms are. So why don't you start here?
Okay, so you have the storm tracking. You're going to have the storm tracking.
I'll do the storm tracking, and I'll just go one by one here.
Tornado warning, Columbia, Dane, Dodge, Jefferson, although most of the storms are in Dodge and Jefferson County. This is until 10:30. We're not sure if it's going to be extended to impact for the rest of Dodge or Jefferson County. Here are some of the towns that will be impacted by it over the next 30 minutes. Like I said, in about 20 minutes, this storm will be out of our area. Now, down further south.
Actually, I just want to go to the east because that's the rest of Dodge County there.
Yeah,
so.
70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The hail not as big as a factor as it was earlier in the day near Platteville, but seeing a lot of straight line winds of up to 70 miles per hour. So could definitely see some more downed tree trunks as well as damage to mobile homes or roof. Now down to the south, the storm isn't quite as strong with wind gusts probably only up to 60 miles per hour. If you click on the warning, it'll probably say 70 miles per hour. That also includes all the way up to Jefferson County. But over here, I'm guessing we'll probably see, around the 60 to 50 mile per hour wind gust range, but a tornado still is possible with the storm, and it is moving a little bit slower, so it may take a little bit longer to get out of the area. So probably
that also may increase the rainfall amounts too.
Rainfall will be still pretty heavy down here, and really that's with this entire storm. It's still raining in Madison a little bit, by the way. So
let me do a quick storm track on this. This would be a little bit slower, about 33 miles an hour. So this gives you an idea to the south and east of Dane County. This brings it to Whitewater by about 10:37, Janesville about 10:46. So this is the northern portion of Rock County.
I feel like might be Whitewater a little bit closer, or it might be in Whitewater a little bit sooner than that.
Again, I actually have the line a little farther to the west.
Yeah, it's going to be in Whitewater about, I would say, closer to like 5 minutes, but yeah. Yeah, Janesville, I would say about 15 minutes. Whitewater, about 5 minutes. Evansville, I don't really expect too much to occur in Evansville. It looks like the heaviest is going to be off to the east. Again, this storm is still producing wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, but the strongest we're worried about is up near Jefferson and Dodge County. But that system will be out of our area rather shortly, heading towards Milwaukee probably by the time we get to 11.
And just the latest, the National Weather Service will allow the tornado warning to expire at 10:30, so it still continues for another 7 minutes for really, for all intents and purposes, it's really Dodge and northern Jefferson counties that are most at risk. The tornado warning itself, and I'll move the map here just so you can see where that is. It is basically most of the activity is east of that tornado. So this is where the tornado warning is, but you can see the more severe threat is already east of that warning area. This is more for just anything left, strong straight line winds, maybe a little bit of hail for the rest of Columbia County, eastern Columbia County, western Dodge County, and northwestern portions of Jefferson County. East of there, the warning is a severe thunderstorm warning. That is until 11 o'clock for the rest of pretty much eastern Dodge, all of eastern Dodge County, all of the rest of Jefferson County, also includes most of northern Rock County, northern Greene County. That is for the southern portion of this line of storms. That's now, and we're going to run into an issue because the National Weather Service Doppler radar is very close to where that line of storms is right now. In fact, you can see that where the radar beam is coming out from here. So once the heavy rain moves over that, that'll kind of blanket everything and kind of block the radar signal for a brief period of time and make it a little more difficult to give us an accurate idea as to the severity of these storms. But everything that we've been seeing so far indicates this is morphed into more of a straight line wind event. We do have a tornado warning, like I say, until 10:30 for the far northern portions of Jefferson and western portions of Dodge County. But the main threat now is going to be severe weather in the form of strong winds from central Jefferson County, from near Sullivan, back toward Fort Atkinson, Whitewater, eventually into the northern portions of Rock County. In fact, probably is already seeing some strong winds over toward Milton, south of Evansville. Let's take a quick look at the velocity here, and you can see exactly where those strong pockets of winds are. And you see they're not as bad as they were before. Again, the radar, because the radar signal is going to be blocked out pretty shortly by the heavy rain, but pockets of strong winds moving through Jefferson County, not really seeing any rotation, maybe a little bit here that could move toward Economowalk in the northwestern portion of Waukesha County, but that's outside of our viewing area. To the south, not even really seeing the straight line winds, maybe some pockets from Whitewater toward Milton, but because of the fact, if you notice, the thunderstorms are moving this way. They're moving, the southern part of the line of storms is just kind of drifting toward the south. So because of that, it looks like the threat will be lessening a little bit there. We now have a flash flood warning for central Dane County for public reported flash flooding, as we saw from Braden Ross's video earlier. So let's go back here and take a quick peek at Dane County and the latest radar. Now you can see the good news is the rain is ending northwest of Madison. The bad news is if we take a look at rain vision, let's see if we can find some radar estimates. Yeah, this is just over the last hour. So you can see pockets basically from downtown Madison back toward Mount Horeb, 1 to 2 inches of rain just in the last hour.
That's more rain than we saw in the entire month of June.
Yeah,
almost.
And then of course, other areas farther to the west that have already seen heavy rainfall. And now we're starting to see that expand into areas south of Dodgeville. So right now, areas south of US 151, basically from Mount Horeb to Dodgeville over toward Mineral Point, south of there, including almost all of Lafayette County, southeastern portions of Iowa County, have seen somewhere between 2 and maybe 5 or 6 inches of rain just over the last 24 hours. Now we're starting to see these pockets of rain. And again, this will update at the top of the hour. So we got more rain that hasn't been accounted for yet. This is not an instantaneous product. So we're probably going to see some 2 and 3 inch amounts from Mount Horeb right along through Verona into Madison, Middleton. And so we are definitely, as you saw from Braden's video earlier, we're getting flooding in downtown Madison because of that.
What's the update on the tornado warning? Is it still in effect?
No, well, technically it's in effect for another 2 minutes. It will be allowed to expire at 10:30. So, I think at this point, we're just going to stay here and until what would be the end of News 3 Now at 10. If you guys could give me a countdown, because I doubt we're going to have another tornado warning. We've updated everybody so far with the severe thunderstorm warnings. So all I need to just see is a visual countdown to when we need to go back into programming. Otherwise, we're just going to fill it here because of everything that's going on. Rain from the National Weather Service. Starting to get reports of flooded waterways and more of an urban response with the heavy rainfall.
Could we possibly bring up Braden's video again, just for the viewers that weren't here with us a moment ago? Could we possibly bring up that video that we showed in downtown Madison, showing just how flooded some of the roads are? Because there is, like I said, we don't have the video right now, but there's a flash flood warning in effect for central Dane County. I'm not exactly sure the extent of it, but I'm guessing that's going to be for most of Madison. So the tornado warning, it will expire at 10:30. Most of these storms are moving off into the Milwaukee region. Down south near Janesville, still that severe thunderstorm warning, and this storm is moving a lot slower. But as you see, the rain is expanding a bit more. We're still going to see the heavy rainfall, but it's not as the red and in some cases pink aren't as dark down there. So my guess is there won't be another severe thunderstorm warning with those storms. But if you know anyone that lives in Milwaukee, these storms are going to head towards that area and still produce some severe weather.
Already under severe thunderstorm warnings for Milwaukee County. So pretty much most of southeastern Wisconsin is under severe thunderstorm warnings. The tornado warning will be allowed to has just expired at 10:30.
At this point, it's mostly just far eastern Jefferson and Rock County, or Jefferson and Dodge County, because Rock and Greene County down south, I don't expect to see some severe weather.
And just from the National Weather Service in Sullivan, they had winds estimated to 60 miles per hour. So that's right as that, where the radar beam is right here. They're getting the strong winds right down the front edge. So I think, as Jacob mentioned, I think the wind threat is even lessening across Greene County, western portions of Rock County, say over toward Evansville, west of Janesville toward Broadhead, east of Monroe, Albany. That area probably just going to see light to moderate rain, not even seeing a lot of lightning really when we put the radar into motion. We're just not seeing a lot of lightning there. So this is where the more stronger cells are. This is more just kind of heavy rain.
Even those areas have sorry to interrupt. Even those areas have kind of diminished since they passed through Madison. There's a lot more lightning across Madison than there is right now. So it does look like as a whole the storms are diminishing, not just the ones.
So Jacob,
down south.
just real quickly, I'm going to summarize here. We've got less than a minute. Severe thunderstorm warning eastern portions of Dodge County, that is until 11 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning for northern portions of Greene County, northern Rock County, much of Jefferson County, southeastern Dane County, that is until 11 p.m. In addition, we also have flash flood warnings. That will be for, let's see if I can get that here. We have a flash flood warning for central portions of Dane County, including the city of Madison. That is until 12:30. And we also, I'm sorry, what was the time on
10
that?
seconds.
10 seconds. And flash flood warning for Lafayette County until 12:45. We'll be back with further updates through the night as necessary.